The way Jesus interacted with women was radical for his time. Jesus embraced the biblical reality that women are co-bearers of God's image. Throughout his ministry, Jesus elevated those marginalized by society, whether they were lepers, foreigners, tax collectors, children, the disabled. Jesus included everyone, especially those that were underprivileged. In first century Jewish society, women were one of those marginalized groups. They were an afterthought. They were disenfranchised and often regarded as property rather than sentient beings. Women were not considered reliable witnesses. They were classed with slaves, children, and the mentally handicapped as being unable to give reliable testimony. They could not even represent themselves in court. Oftentimes, the disciples themselves were guilty of underestimating and mistreating women. After his crucifixion, when several women went to Jesus' tomb to care for his body, they were greeted by angels who told them Jesus had risen from the dead. But when the women told the disciples did not believe the women because their words seemed to them like nonsense. The disciples assumed that the women were hysterical or imagining things. Yet Jesus approached women differently than society and even his disciples. Christ's approach to women was radical. Women were a constant part of Jesus' ministry. At Jesus' every turn, women were present. They were with him at the beginning of his ministry when Mary asked him to turn water into wine. Women were models of Jesus' work, such as in the parable of the lost coin. Christ listened to women when they pleaded for his help on behalf of their families. In the face of tradition and cultural norms, Jesus discussed salvation and prophecy with the Samaritan woman while drinking at a well. It was a woman who washed his feet, preparing Christ for burial. When most of the disciples fled in terror, it was women who bravely stood at the foot of the cross as he died. After the resurrection, God gave the gospel commission first to women, not his male disciples. In other words, the good news of Christ and his resurrection was first given by women to men. So what does this tell us about Jesus? He certainly treated women as if they were made equally in the image of God and had the same value to him, his ministry, and the world as men. And today, we still have much we can learn from Jesus' example.